Hi, this is Scott Trout, CEO of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. There are many life changes that can happen after divorce that make it difficult or impossible to uphold requirements of your divorce decree. The orders issued in a divorce are based on the facts presented at that time, but the circumstances used in issuing those orders can obviously change. If you feel a modification to your court orders might be necessary, talk to us at Cordell & Cordell.
Contact CordellCordell.com, 1065 East Hillsdale Boulevard, Suite 310, Foster City, California, 94404.
Sometimes it doesn't work in here.
It's one of those days I'm kind of wishing it didn't work.
Why is that? Get out of here, Brad.
You're listening to Nearly Informed.
What's up? My name is Brad. Brian is here.
With Brad's bad attitude in here.
Bad
I got
attitude.
Ryan Dalton in Dalton Tuesday.
Morning.
We don't know when they're listening.
Yeah, I
Well,
just
it's
like to
Ryan.
throw it in there. So, like, if this is the first thing you do today is listen to this podcast,
As well it should be.
you feel like you've done something.
It's Ryan Dalton Tuesdays. It's officially been named that because
Oh,
he's
okay.
been. See, unfortunately, Brad, Ryan makes all the Tuesdays, so we named it Ryan Dalton Tuesday.
I know.
He's very consistent,
And it's not because I'm dedicated. It's because I have the time.
very free. Fun stuff today. We're going to talk about Valentine's Day. Why are white people always doing blackface?
Always?
Always, man. It's
We're
Right
always
now.
doing
We're
that?
doing it
every
right now.
single white person who was running for politics in the 80s has a blackface photo. I want to know why. And also, why are white kids the worst? Well, we're going to rip on white people today.
I was going to say, it's a whole episode of ripping apart white people.
Well, white people are pretty bad. We're pretty dumb. And then we act so shocked. Whoa! When did blackface get bad? Well, it's 1986, Jim. How about? I think we decided it was bad 40 years before that. Ryan and I were just talking about why is weather is brutal everywhere right now. In the Northwest, it's awful. They've got like 10 inches of snow. I mean, that's fun, but it's still brutal. It seems like every weekend it's raining in California now, which is just depressing.
I
It
love
is.
it. I love
Well, that's
it.
why.
It's a real bummer.
Because I know that this area needs water very badly, and also when it's done, it's like a free bath for the city. And let me tell you something, it needs it.
That is true. In
Well-
Los Angeles, one of the most beautiful times ever is the day after it rains.
Oh,
It's just like, oh my
air
gosh,
is clear.
the sky is there, the stars can be
You can
seen,
see the ocean.
and then 36 hours later, it's just back
But
to
Ryan,
garbage.
I'm not convinced that the water I don't mind it rain. Let's say go ahead and rain in Big Bear, in the mountains and stuff where we have all our reservoirs and the water. I don't think the water that is raining on top of us is good for anything but like just pushing diseases and bacteria around. That's
Right.
it. Just garbage floating around.
I don't like the cold that comes with it. I get very economical about it. Like, I pay a lot of money for it not to be cold.
Have either of you ever stuck your hand, like it's raining, it's crazy, it's pouring down in Los Angeles, and you just kind of get your hand wet and then feel your hand?
Yeah, there's like it's almost like you just
Like
changed
a
the oil
film?
on your car.
Yeah,
Oily?
it's a legitimate like slime.
The sidewalks are slippery because
Yeah.
there's the air quality just settling on all the roads.
And you can't fly your plane around when it's that
Oh
crappy.
my
Yeah.
God, the
Here we go.
worst.
I mean, doesn't everybody have this problem?
Yeah.
I feel like every week we have to get Brad has to get in an airplane reference.
Did I mention I'm
I gotta fly everywhere. Getting my Series 42 or whatever it is.
Speaking of Cessnas,
Oh boy.
Speaking of weather,
I find my favorite thing right now with the weather being bad is Trump's like inability to distinguish between global warming and weather patterns. It's phenomenal. Every time he tweets about it, it makes me happy. It makes me kind of sad too because he's the president and but I love the fact that he can't not troll people. There's this woman running for president. Her name's Patty something. And she was giving her "I'm running for president" speech in Wisconsin, and his tweet was something like, "Poor timing for Patty. She's all about helping with global warming. Could have used some of it today. She looked like a snowman woman by the end of her speech." It's like, you're such a moron.
look, he takes a lot of executive time, and during that executive time, he needs to tweet.
what is that story like? So I've just been hearing bits and pieces of this. So he has like hours every day.
60% of his time is considered executive time, which is just kind of code for whatever you want to do.
I didn't want to run for president before, but I think now I want to.
Oh, anybody can do it.
It's
proved
easy.
It. I'll give Trump this. He proved anybody can run for president. Like before, they always said that you can be, when you were a kid, you can be anything you want, even president. But that was never the case.
It's not true for most of us.
But now it's like, no, anybody can do it.
Literally anyone.
Now the answer to Trump is like, we need to get Oprah in there. Oh, sure. Yeah, why not? Why not? You know what? Let's not have anybody who's in public service. Let's not have anybody who's done any government service whatsoever.
Every time someone says Oprah,
let's get the guy who founded Starbucks. Let's get him.
Howard Schultz, do it.
Why not?
Every time I think, I'm always like, yeah, no, electing celebrities has worked out for us. Let's continue to do that. Just keep
the thing about it is like the one common thread there is billionaire. So it is like you can be anything you want. Once you become a billionaire, then you're good.
True.
The one
asterisk.
The one hurdle you got to jump is that pesky billionaire thing. But the thing about like a billionaire running for president is you think like, oh, they're just going to pay for themselves the campaign. They don't. They still raise money.
They're smart with their money.
Their billions on becoming president.
You get to $1 billion, you know how to not spend it.
I was making a video today about Trump and Elizabeth Warren because he loves just ripping on her about being about Pocahontas and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
which
Why
is
not?
just like,
I'm going to be honest, it's funny when
class,
he does that.
but it's just class A trolling. Also, you know that she's like 1/32 or less or something of Cherokee or whenever she took her DNA test, which is ridiculous that she even did that. But he keeps calling her like, now I used to refer to her as Pocahontas. He still can't let go of the nickname because he thinks he's so clever with the Pocahontas stuff. He's like, I used to refer to her as Pocahontas. That didn't work out so well for it, did it, Liz?
All caps.
Yeah, for real. I'll see you on the campaign trail, Liz. I was looking up some clips of him, and I found one from the roast, Comedy Central roast, and he literally says, I'm going to be the greatest president of all time, like 8 years ago, and everyone's laughing, as he cracks a joke about himself and his hair. He has some pretty funny jokes about himself, about his hair. I liked him so much better when he wasn't running things.
Yeah,
we
like
all
when it was
did.
the idea of like, oh, that would be funny, or, hey, great jokes, but now it's like, uh-oh.
Now it's like you don't understand.
Uh-oh, what's he doing fixing this economy?
You have to have a level of you just have to be a higher brow human being. You can't get on Twitter and call people Pocahontas when you're president. You just can't do it.
That's what you thought.
I know you can't. It's
He's
awful.
breaking barriers.
It's awful. It's awful, and it does nothing for anybody. It's absolute trash. And if you're a Trump fan, fine. You can be a Trump fan all you want to. I don't care. But the tweets are garbage.
No,
they're
it's the worst part of
racist
it.
garbage.
It's the worst part of it.
If he would stop doing that, I could like wrap my head around some of the positive things he does. But because it's such racist trash, I can't.
Like the only reason he's the only person I follow on Twitter with updates to my phone.
Me too.
And the reason is that when the missiles fly, I just want a head start.
Exactly. You
I
want to
just
know.
want a head start just to say goodbye to a few people.
I want to know that
before we all get cooked.
He just called Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man again.
Here's the thing about it, though, just to take a kind of a different approach to this.
What, you're going to say pro-racism stuff? Go for it.
No. The first ever in the campaign, I worked on the Obama campaign. We called him the first ever Twitter president, meaning Obama was a guy who learned how to leverage the new digital space, right? Because think about 2008.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, that was when Twitter kind of really came into its own.
Yeah, and
it could have been anybody, really. Just in
for
that
sure,
space.
For sure. But he was the best at it, and he leveraged it, and they used some tactics that were interesting. They're not bad. I'm just saying it was stuff that today is common. That back then they were like, oh, let's do this and this kind of content marketing and things like that, and that was cool. And that was an example of a really good dude leveraging the systems at play. But immediately after that, what you're seeing is the same exact systems at play for a guy that's not that is not a good dude. And it's just one of those things, like, this is a lesson that we have to learn as a country. To be quite honest.
You're overestimating what the strategy was. Not social media. The strategy was be awful and never apologize. The strategy was
that's his personality.
To specific people.
That's his personality, and that's the Roger. What's the guy's name? Roger Stone. That's the Roger Stone vibe. But I'm talking about the way he leveraged the technology, and now we're dealing with this could be bad, right? And so I think honestly,
if you got
this is a lesson we needed to learn.
You got 100 million people that follow Obama. If Obama wanted to do the exact same thing, but opposite way, you'd have 100 million people getting one specific message, thinking that this individual is talking to him like they fact-checked anything.
Right.
I mean, it's insanity.
Yeah, I think this is a lesson we needed to learn. My hope is that we'll clean it up after this. I mean, honestly, like nothing's irreparable.
I think if
That's
Twitter,
how government is
I
designed.
think if Twitter just went away, we'd be a better society.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's about to. Everybody's getting everybody who's ever tweeted anything is getting hunted down for something they said years ago. So it's only a matter of time before people just start just deleting accounts just to get out of future trouble.
I mean, you should just delete everything on it. I looked at mine the other day and I was like, I should delete all these. And then I thought to myself, well, but what about those good jokes? I'm like, if they were good, I'd use them in stand up.
Right.
Like that 18 like tweet. Oh, I can't never. I'm gonna probably think of it again down the road anyway and think it was brand new.
I just had this great idea.
Oh, this makes so much sense.
And that's when someone will troll your Twitter and be like, you told that joke years ago.
Good. As long as it doesn't
You're
have
on
a
it.
blackface reference in it, I'm fine.
All right, what's up next?
Coming up next, we're talking about bar hop, walk, and Valentine's Day.
This is Nearly Informed with Brad and Brian.
You can find us on social at Nearly Informed. Nothing up there yet. We'll work on it. We're getting it's 2019. New year, new social.
No, it's still the same social game as 2018. Nothing there.
We put the new logos up.
I walked 12 miles on Sunday, and my body hurts. Nothing like makes you feel old, like being sore from walking.
I was pretty excited when I found out that you and your brother were going to go walk for 12 miles because I was like, what is the outcome here?
It's just a bar hop. It's just a bar crawl.
I would have loved to do that. I was sad I couldn't do it.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. You can drink a hell of a lot of booze when you're walking 2.5 miles.
Yeah, you're walking it off.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Walk it off, L.A.
Too bad it was raining and garbage that day.
Well, that's just like that was so frustrating. It caused us. I mean, that cost us about 2 hours, 2.5 hours of just we had to hang out at certain places.
Yeah, because it was just coming down.
Yeah, it was just, and it wasn't. I could deal with like the mist. I don't mind that rain, but when it turned into just the actual downpour. Well, one, Pat's doing chemotherapy, so he can't really get. I mean, you're not supposed to get sick,
right?
So we really had to be careful on that one. We're not trying to give him pneumonia. Like he's about to have his last week of chemotherapy. But we decided we're gonna do this once a quarter.
Oh, God.
Walk it off, just for a different charity, though. The
It's
whole idea is
fun.
fundraising. You know, eventually you get like a 12-mile bar crawl, walk, and it's not. I mean, listen, it's not that bad. You're sore the next day. But 12 miles over 6 hours isn't that bad.
No,
2 miles an hour.
You're boozing. You're taking in new places. You want to go. You know, you can. I'm all for that. I like
Did you
discovering
hit places?
new places.
Yeah. Did you hit places you'd never been before? In this, or did you stick kind of close to the comfort zone?
No. We looked at just places that were memorable. So we had a good mix of dive bar. We went to Pump, which is like the Lisa Vanderpump's joint.
It's pretty good. Like that place a lot.
Yeah, we got stuck there for about
So
an hour
did
and a half, drinking mimosas. We went to the Beverly Hilton. We had to make an emergency stop at Cafe Amici, just a weird bar run by this Italian dude who just gave us the biggest shots of whiskey ever.
Nice.
Yeah, that part wasn't bad. Then we went to Philly West Bar and Grill out in Westwood, which is like the diviest bar I've been to in L.A. by a mile.
Oh, nice.
It's not even close.
I like hearing that.
Like it's on Westwood Avenue, just off Westwood and Santa Monica. And I'm not even kidding you. It is a bar you'd find. It had pull tabs. It was a bar you find in any town other than L.A.
So the color of the floor was just dark.
It was sticky. That's the color. Sticky a color. Your feet are sticking to it. So that's the goal is every time we do it, we pick different places. You know, we start at somewhere in Hollywood and somewhere in Santa Monica. We thought we were going to end at a cheesecake factory on a pier. That doesn't exist. Google Maps led me astray. But the funny part is we were all like hyped up for cheesecake on the way.
When
Like-
you get your hair around something, when
Yeah.
you're on something you're like, this is the mission now.
We talked ourselves into cheesecake the entire walk.
Oh my God, that sounds.
And then
good.
by the time we got out there, we realized there wasn't any cheesecake. We had to settle for nachos.
Because Sunday's my cheat day, and that would have been heaven on earth.
Why didn't you go with them?
I didn't because my wife was off work, and then that's why I didn't go. You know, we stay at home. That's it.
It's a stay-at-home day.
Yeah.
Ryan enjoys his wife.
Oh
He
yeah.
likes
Did
staying.
I mention it was raining?
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Rain's a bad one too.
Yeah.
Speaking of wives and whatnot, Valentine's Day, Thursday. Ryan, do you have Valentine's Day planned? Is Valentine's Day a big day for the Dalton household?
It's not a big day, but I'm gonna spruce it up. I'm gonna get a
Whoa.
little greeting card. You know, make a nice meal, homemade nice meal. She's laid up right now. She just had a little procedure done, so she can't really walk anywhere, as I call it, romance.
You can't leave.
She's like, I have to leave my leg elevated. I'm like, both legs are about to be elevated.
Want me to hold that one up for you?
Yeah. And she's like, I can't escape. I'm like, this is going to be the misery treatment. You're not leaving this house.
You're just Kathy Bates.
Yeah. So I'll get some chocolate. I'm going to get a nice greeting card, write something nice, and tell her how sexy and beautiful she is.
And she's well laid up with a busted old foot.
Yeah, and I might even spruce up and get a deep dish pizza.
Whoa.
We're also doing pizza for Valentine's.
Yeah, but you have a daughter, so you have to work her into the plans. So you
Right,
can't
yeah.
just like go out on your own, right?
Yeah, I had this huge plan for Valentine's Day, and the weather's going to destroy my plan.
Oh,
but
that's right. Do you not want to talk
Does
about
it
your
involve
plan?
flying?
it does.
What are the odds, Ryan? What are the odds?
Well, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take
I don't know.
off.
Did you know that Brad's a pilot?
No, I haven't heard
Have you
about it
heard
in the
that?
last couple minutes.
We're going to take off from the Hawthorne Airport. We're going to fly over Disney and orbit Disney while the fireworks were going on. Because my wife and daughter are huge Disney fans, like massively Disney fans. And so we're going to do that and then land and then do like dinner and all this other stuff. So it was going to be cool, but the weather's going to screw that up. I'm a pilot.
You can take them. I don't know if you know this, Brad.
would it shatter your heart once you were like in orbit and then your daughter goes, why can't we actually just be there?
Now we have season passes. Yeah.
You are fans.
But
Jeez.
also,
Jeez.
Also, I think here's the thing. I think flying around Disneyland, I think Ryan nailed it. Declan is still not old enough to appreciate how cool that is.
No, she loves planes though.
Well,
she
loves seeing
loves them.
planes. Listen, you can love planes all you want to.
She's just
it's
in the
not
back
as good
throwing
at
up.
Yeah, she just wants to be at Disneyland, and you're like, look, damn it, I didn't get my pilot's license renewed for me throwing up back a plane. Look at Disneyland's fireworks. And she's like, but Dad, I've seen those from Disneyland. I want to go to Disneyland. This is so much cooler for flying on Valentine's Day.
You're ungrateful.
Yeah, I feel like you set the bar too high in your mind for it just be
You're probably
outside
right.
of a 4-year-old's grasp of
Just right there.
like how cool, and then that honestly would sit with you forever.
Yeah.
Like her high school graduation, you'll just be thinking, it took you on a damn plane flight.
Ungrateful.
Didn't even enjoy
Your
it.
father piloted an
I
airplane.
had to
orbit and get clearance.
You know how hard it is to orbit, dude?
expensive
The fallback plan is we're all gonna make a heart-shaped pizza together.
Why isn't there a fallback?
That's fun.
It is
Why
gonna
isn't
be
your
cool.
fallback plan go to Disneyland? You can still see
Because
those
it's gonna be
fireworks.
raining. It's the same problem.
Bring an umbrella. There's
Nah,
rides
it's
and indoors
boring.
and stuff.
Plus, they're rebuilding the castle right now at Disneyland, so it's a whole thing. It's like not as cool. I don't know. Yeah,
We are. I'm flying.
it's a real hassle.
Hey, Brad, I'm flying to Atlanta with a different pilot,
Okay, all right.
but
well,
I'm sure
I mean,
it'll be just as subtle. Excuse me, everybody. I am the pilot of this. I don't know if you know how cool that is, please.
this is your pilot.
Pilot! I am your pilot. I've been piloting this plane.
Like, I wonder if Brad, like, when he's on like a commercial job, he's like, I'm just gonna go up there and say a few words.
Yeah,
to the,
right.
You know, just
Yeah, do you try to make
trade
like
some war stories?
Do you try to make casual small talk getting on an airplane that indicates to the captain that you also are a pilot, and just hopefully he'll be like, well, why don't you come on up during the flight?
I have once.
Yeah, right.
This was a long time ago. I was like 19, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm working on getting my pilot's license, so maybe we could talk about pilot stuff." But I was like just barely working on it, so I didn't know jack. And the guy started talking to me. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go sit down now."
No, you can't tell me you don't get on an airplane like you're flying to Seattle. You go like, up, the cabin doors open or the cockpit doors open. You go like, yeah, barometric pressure's looking pretty good for flights today. Oh, how did I know that? I also am a pilot.
That
so.
temperature dew point spread, am I right?
you know, you're talking all loud as well. You know, a lot of people think that these switches are fake in there and they don't really do anything. But they're not. They do stuff. I know. I'm also a pilot. Oh, hey, I'm also a pilot.
I'm a pilot. Hey, these things pretty much land themselves, don't they? Come on. The computer does all the heavy lifting, am I right?
No respect.
Yeah.
I'm going to Atlanta, and we got a hotel room at the St. Regis.
You know
For
it's going to be a
Saturday
good weekend when you get a hotel room in your own town.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Here's the thing, though, because now I think the expectation's a little bit too high for one night, because the room is really expensive, right? It's a really expensive room in the town that we're in.
$300, $400?
Oh no, it's higher than that. It's north of $400. Okay. And she told me how much it was, and I was like, "That is insane." But then she's like, "Yeah, but we never really do this, and I didn't fly out for." Valentine's Day, so we saved a bunch of money there, and I was like, all right, fair. She's like, yo, and it comes with like a spa package. It comes with all this other stuff. It's like
cool.
a Valentine's Day
really cool.
package, sure, but then the whole thing was like, yeah, we're going to just Let's drink champagne. I'm gonna get a bunch of champagne from her real estate office. They have like fancy champagne. She's like, I'm gonna snag a few bottles of that.
Man, get some Cooks, dude. Nobody cares.
I mean, she does. She's a champagne snob.
Stop it.
She's a champagne.
I bet if she took the Pepsi challenge, she'd get it wrong. I guarantee it.
No way.
Guarantee it.
You know what? I'll find out this weekend.
Guarantee it. I'll buy a bottle of Cooks and put it up against there and do
She'd
a
be
secret
able to
Pepsi
tell by
challenge.
the smell.
Just relabel it.
I listen. Unless it's sweet, I'm telling you, nobody can tell the difference.
I'm not saying that. I mean, I wouldn't, and that wouldn't matter anyway.
I couldn't.
I'm putting orange juice in with it most of the time anyway. So what the hell do I care?
They just ruin
Right?
it.
Yeah, I don't give a crap. But the funny part is that she was like, "Yep." I mean, I'm like, that's really pricey. Yeah, we're gonna go to a spa. We'll lay around, drink a bunch, and have sex. And I'm like, You're throwing drink a bunch in there. Generally, my track record for drinking a bunch and being able to pull off the sex part, it's really not. That's not high.
I was literally thinking about that driving over here. I was just going like, oh man, I got to really plan this out because it just doesn't work anymore. It is. Let me.
Well, you got to elaborate what part doesn't work.
Let me explain this to Brad so he understands. It's like the landing gear won't come down. You know, you get what I mean. You can't throttle the stick.
My landing gear is just fine. My plane just falls asleep. My autopilot just nods off, and we end up somewhere the next morning.
I just end up doing a lot of frustrated push-ups.
Frustrated. Just planking. just planking the whole time. Well, so anyways, let's just say that the prognosis is not super positive for me being able to pull off the statement of we can lay around, drink a bunch, and have a lot of
champagne.
sex.
I think you'll be good on champagne. Just don't go deep into the heavy liquor.
Have you met Brian?
Yeah, my problem is I just start having too much fun, and I'm like, what do I care? I'll pay for this on Sunday. I don't care. Happy Valentine's Day!
I got my plane booked out anyway.
Hey, by the way, Papa John's does have heart-shaped pizzas.
That's what we're doing. It's Papa Murphy's.
Papa Murphy's?
Yeah, the ones you make yourself.
Oh, okay. No, I'm going to order it.
You want a professional heart-shaped pizza. You don't blow that.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll check back in with you after Valentine's
I'm
Day.
already drunk, not being able to get my landing gear down. So.
All right, when are we roasting white people in the show?
That's coming up at the end.
Okay.
Find Nearly Informed on Instagram and Twitter at Nearly Informed.
Ryan Dalton, I have a question for you. Because I don't know if you saw
No, I didn't do blackface. I've never done it.
Oh, good. Well, that knocks out that question. We'll save all the blackface for the end. End of the show. Well, maybe we'll get some blackface talk in here. No, I wanted to ask you this question because you're a Cleveland sports fan, and you guys signed Kareem Hunt.
Yes, we got him on a steal. You got him on a steal because... And a gamble.
Well, I mean, he's going to be suspended for a good chunk of the season next year for domestic violence. But that's my question.
Still got it. Good.
That's my question is, as a sports fan, where do you set that aside? Because the video, if you haven't seen it, Kareem Hunt, he was a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. A video surfaced. It's a really weird one where he's all drunk. Like, they're all drunk. There's some women that are drunk, and they're like all kind of like wrestling and fighting in a hallway of some sort. And he kind of like shoves one girl, and then she tries to get up, and he kind of like, they call it a kick, but it wasn't really a kick. He just kind of like pushed her with his leg, and then she went down to the lobby and was like called the police, and the police came. No one got arrested, but the video just looks awful. Like, it looks like he's definitely, like, at one point he gets physical with this drunk chick, and the chicks are, but everyone's obnoxious in the video. It's not like the Ray Rice incident where Ray Rice just punched his girlfriend right in the face and like knocked her out cold. It was just like this sloppy drunk, a bunch of people being idiots. But the Kansas City Chiefs cut him because, one, he wasn't very forthcoming about the investigation. Then they felt like idiots when the video came out and the video surfaced. But what I find is funny is like a month ago, no one would pick up Kareem Hunt. No, like they were like, whoa, domestic violence, no way. Then, like you said, he becomes a steal. He clears waivers. You guys got him next year for like $1 million for the season. And he's got maybe a 10, 12-game suspension coming his way, depending on what the NFL's investigation leads to. Also, the NFL investigation could lead to 6 games. If they deem it wasn't like actual domestic violence, just a weird incident.
How many games are in the season? 16?
16.
16 games.
But you get a healthy running back in the last 6 games of your season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty valuable. So my question is, though, as a sports fan, are you conflicted at all? Or are you like able to go, you know what, I'm a sports fan only in this regard?
I am not conflicted because the NFL, because of what happened with the Ray Rice situation, is they have a very hard line on anything that looks like battery,
Domestic violence
like,
at all.
Yeah, they have to make that line. And if everything comes out, like I said, this is a gamble. This could backfire, and he gets a 12-game suspension. We just gave $1 million to maybe play 4 games, maybe.
Right.
You know. But look, if it turns out to be nothing, but if it was this thing where he's like abusing a person, no, he shouldn't be allowed to play the game anymore. What's wrong? We don't need that. Nobody needs that. I don't want my team to benefit from some monster.
Right.
You know,
like, and the thing that I find so interesting is it's all video proof, right? Like Greg Hardy was so much of a worse abusive monster who played for numerous teams after a woman. Girlfriend of his, he had like smacked around. He threw at one point in time, threw her on top of a pile of like AK-47s that he had in his apartment in Carolina.
I mean, anyone who's got a pile of AK-47s probably not a great dude.
I mean, I guess generally you could say if they're in a pile, they're not even locked up.
Yeah,
they're just on a futon. Just like
is there cash in the pile as well?
And she had a bunch of like bruises and scratch marks and stuff. But because there's no video, then people get forgiven. It's kind of strange, too, because there's also, like Joe Mixon from Oklahoma. He punched that girl in the face, but he said she called him the N-word. And then a lot of people were saying, well, clearly everyone's drunk in these videos. But it is interesting because as not a Browns fan, I find it kind of like, wow, come on. This guy hasn't really paid his, debt. But then again, we don't know.
We don't know what the debt is.
Right, we don't know.
It's a gamble. They still got him at a steal, though.
If I'm a Browns fan, I'm like, yeah, come on, everyone deserves second chances.
Oh yeah, of course.
We got it for $1 million.
I mean, dude, for the Cavaliers, like, who's that guy? Who's that forward for the Golden State Warriors that's always getting in trouble, technical fouls?
Draymond Green.
Yeah, I hate his guts. But if he was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, like, he is a hustler. He is a blue collar guy. You got to get behind his work ethic. I mean that's how I feel. But I mean, look, we're trying to pick up pieces. We're trying to clear some cap to get an Odell Beckham Jr. right now. You know what I'm saying?
I wish someone would get me at a steal for $1 million for a year.
Right. See,
I wish I could be a steal at $1 million.
You got to have a lot more value than $1 million.
Okay.
That to call it a steal.
Right.
I remember two examples. One, when Kobe got busted for alleged sexual assault in Denver hotel room. And I was a Seattle Supersonics fan. I was like, that guy is so guilty. How is he ever going to play basketball again? But if you put him on the Sonics, I'd be like, that girl's a liar.
Yeah, totally. How dare you?
Because
what
of
is that?
Because it's just the allegiance to the team. It's like I loved Richard Sherman when he was a Seattle Seahawk. Loved him. And everyone's like, oh, he's such a jerk, man. He's always running his mouth. He's just like, arrogant, annoying. And I'm like, guys, that's just how he plays the game. Then as soon as they traded him, or we didn't trade him, we waived him, he signs with the 49ers. And I remember, like, having to tell myself not to be upset. When I saw his face in a 49ers jersey, I was like, oh, gosh.
I don't get, like, I'm into sports as much as, like, they're entertaining to watch, but I've never had actual loyalty to any team. All of my loyalties seen on social media are pandering to whatever town I live in.
Yeah,
and so,
I'm willing to do that, too.
Yeah. And so, like, I've never had loyalties, but I had a friend one time put his fist through his computer during a Chicago game, football, Chicago Bears.
I wanted you to say, like, the Chicago.
Oh, me too. I thought he was going to blow it.
Yeah, I wanted you to blow that so bad. To not know they were the Bears.
Chicago.
The Chicago Bearcats.
The Black Bulls? Oh, God, not the Black Bulls.
Oh, God.
That sounded racist.
But he put his fist through his laptop. And I'm talking a guy who's we're all low income at this time, like struggling to pay the rent, and he's got the guts to put his fist through a laptop over a football game. I was like, I'm never going to like a team that much.
Well, that right there is, I don't think he liked the team that much. He was just putting all of his sadness into that moment, and therefore, you're a sad person if you do that.
It's just a vehicle.
No one cares that much who isn't playing the game.
Right. I mean, there's athletes.
Right.
There's athletes on the team who don't care that much. They'll go over the other side of the guys they're playing, and they'll give each other a hug, and you're like, how can you hug that guy? He's on the other side. It's like, this isn't the Civil War.
One time the Cleveland Browns lost so bad to the Pittsburgh Steelers at their last game of the season, I went home and cleaned my house drunk. I have to do something productive to erase how bad I feel about what I just witnessed.
Well, I feel like people don't understand that there are people in the world who that's how they get through their week every single week. They wake up in the morning. What are the Seahawks up to? I got my routine. Monday, Tuesday, who's injured? Wednesday, Thursday, we got practice. Then all I'm doing talking every day about the game with my friends.
That's
or
how
the
I was
guys
when I
that
lived in Cleveland,
right.
because that's all
you have.
Miserable. That's all we had.
And then in the off season, it's like trade rumors. My brother Patrick, before he had cancer and had something real to worry about, he would hit me with trade rumors every day. He'd be like, "Did you see this?" I'm like, "Pat, it is April." None of these guys are going to play for the Seahawks. It's April right now.
Like, I wish part of me is like, I would never love a team that much, but the other part of me is like, I wish I cared that much about something.
No, you don't. Don't care that much. I'm glad that after Cleveland won a title, I can kind of just divorce myself from, like, I'm happy that the Browns are going to do something. It is so. There's so many other things you could be doing with your time. You could be prepping your plane. You could be.
You could be just thinking about it. You could be talking about your plane. just making plans you'll have to cancel because of the weather.
Speaking of football, the worst thing about flying during football games is all those restricted airspace zones.
I can't fly over all the stadiums because they're too busy flying their Blue Angels over the top, doing their flights. All right, coming up next, why are white kids the worst?
This is Nearly Informed with Brad and Brian.
We'll talk about that in a second, but first, I don't know if you saw this story. Katy Perry, singer, she's got her own shoe line, which I didn't know until I saw the story.
This news today, yeah.
But I think it's a shoe line. People will do these limited run shoe lines that I heard it was in Walmart. So like a Walmart thing. So I think these shoes are pretty reasonably priced. And they're basically, they come in tan and they come in black. Leather and tan leather. And on the front of them is a face. And the face has big googly eyes and then red lips. But on the black shoe, it looks like blackface.
Oh.
And
I just like how we're rounding up now.
Yep. The black shoe looks like blackface.
Wasn't there a fashion show where somebody had like a turtleneck?
The Gucci, the Gucci also had a
That's
turtleneck
awesome.
that you could pull up and had big red lips. And it just looks like a cartoon version of the old blackface minstrels from
Yeah, that's exactly what
back
they
in the
used to.
30s,
Those are
40s.
the characteristics they used to put on everything. It's
Right.
terrible.
But the thing is that the funny part about it is that, with all these politicians getting busted for being in blackface, this has happened to like 3 or 4 politicians where there's some blackface picture in a yearbook from, the 80s or 70s. It's like, what?
What is it, Virginia or something? Like their entire government structure is falling apart because of past issues?
Yeah, some of it's sexual assault too, but with the lieutenant governor. But yeah, the governor now has blackface photos from college. And it's like, even then, I look at it going, I've never not known that blackface was inappropriate. And I don't know if there was a switch in the 90s where it was like, oh, blackface, no. But the interesting part with these fashion folks that are getting busted is people ask, like, how can this happen? And it's because it gets through marketing and all these things, because you have nothing but a bunch of, like, white people with the same cultural sensibilities who are the ones who are signing off on it. So they see these shoes at Katy Perry, and they're like, oh, those are just cute shoes that are black faces. Not blackface shoes. What are you guys talking about?
It's true. Yeah, it's a group think thing. Like, it's a sensibility thing. Like, there is not enough diversity in that chain, clearly. And so you're going to miss a lot of different communities.
Just cultural references.
Yeah.
Things that people would find
and it's
offensive.
not just the black community, but there's going to be other communities you make mistakes because they're not represented in that chain.
I mean, I would consider myself not an easily offended person. The shoes don't offend me. I look at it more like, I mean, that's just dumb. Like, they're an ugly ass shoe.
You're like tan and black shoe, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like Katy Perry at all. It sounds pretty boring.
No, it's awful. It's just ridiculous. All right, let's get to why white kids are the worst. Brad has one.
Oh,
Brad has
damn
a
it.
white kid. You can talk about it.
And they're the worst.
I had this observation this past week, and I went out to Laverne, where I went to college in California, and I played basketball. We went and watched a basketball game at my old school, and then we all went out to dinner. I went out to dinner with 4 of my college buddies, 2 black dudes and 2 white dudes, and we're all hanging out at this table. And I just kept finding myself going like, why are white kids being the worst? They're the worst right now. Because so my black buddies, Their kids were all the same age. We're super well behaved. We're sitting there. We're like, at one point in time, one of them, Zoe, who's like 7.5 years old, she goes, hey, Dad. And he goes, what? And he goes, can I go to the bathroom? And he goes, do you really need to go? And she looked at him like, yeah. He goes, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you can totally go. Thanks for asking. Like, just messing with her.
Yeah.
And then I looked over, and my buddies Steve and Joe, with their white kids, are like climbing all over the tables, smashing things on it. Like they have to have some sort of tablet in their hands, or else they're distracted or having meltdown, or they won't shut up and they won't stop like trying to tell you things you already know. You know, like stuff they just learned. Yeah, you know that because you learned it from grown-ups. I'm a grown-up. Stop talking.
But, I mean, I know what the point is, but don't you also put this on the parent raising the kid?
But in terms of a sample size.
Sample size of the people you're hanging out with.
But there's only 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
But they're all the same age. These guys are all the same age. They're all married, still married to their wives that they have kids with. They all grew up in a relatively similar area in Rancho Cucamonga, Chino, Pomona.
Cut from the same cloth type vibe.
I mean, I know all these guys. I've been to all their neighborhoods, all their hometowns. They all grew up in pretty reasonable middle-class neighborhoods. And for some reason, and we were joking about it because they were like, yeah, we always joke that the white kids are the worst. And I'm like, man, they're really acting like the worst.
I hadn't thought about it. Declan is everything you just described about the white kids. Most of her stuff is curiosity and all that stuff, but she does. I mean, you've seen her in public. She gets a little bit.
Oh, she gets surly.
A little bit surly, a little bit weird, a little bit crazy. Like she's like, I'll be mid sentence, and she goes, "Daddy," blah 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 blah, and just continues to talk. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah.
And then she stops. She's pretty well disciplined for the most part. But at the same time, it's like I never thought about that. She is a kind of like outsiders would call her crazy, I'm sure. But I can deal with it though.
A bit unruly. Ryan, how were you raised by your parents?
Well, first off, electricity was like a privilege in our house growing up. I was born in 1976, so it was a long time ago. And well, we didn't have. I mean, dude, how was I?
You
raised?
Didn't even have autopilot back then.
Let me put it.
You had to manually land your planes, Brad. I'll let you know.
I was raised on fear, not abuse, but like I knew
fear of discipline.
Oh yeah, real discipline,
a healthy respect for the physical discipline.
Now my knee-jerk reaction when I see like kids acting up or I see somebody hand a tablet is like, I can't believe. I mean, is this where we're at now? But also, I don't know what it's like to raise a person. I know what exhaustion feels like.
It's tough. Yeah.
I know what that. You want a sound to go away, or you just want to regroup, and you have a solution to a problem in your hand that will do work for you. Yeah, I probably would reach for that too.
Well, I tell you, we really try to resist that in my household. She gets 20 to 30 minutes of tablet time a week. And that's on Saturdays, and she sits down and she watches some cool videos about the toys that she has and stuff like that on YouTube Kids or whatever. But there are times that rule gets broken, and it's when she's being an insane person.
Right.
But here's what we've discovered. She's a complete a-hole after the tablet.
Right, so basically the tablet is just kind of a Band-Aid on a problem.
I don't know. I think it's almost more of a drug situation because we take the tablet away after the 30 minutes on a Saturday, and she is a jerk the entire rest of the night. And it's not just like I'm mad because I don't have my tablet. she's just a jerk.
She's just annoyed.
Like in withdrawal or something like that. It's crazy.
I mean, I don't have any kids either. But it is interesting. And what I noticed, I think what I noticed more was the way in which all of my buddies' kids were interacting with them verbally, right? Like my white friends' kids had a real, I want to say, propensity to just flat out ignore them, to ignore one of my buddies when they'd say something like, "Hey, don't do this." They look at him like. Yeah, right. They look at him like, you could see on their face, they're like, sure, Dad. And then they keep doing it, and it wasn't until they hit that second level of like, hey, like stop what you're doing kind of situation. Which on the other hand, like my buddies Dante and John would say one thing, and their kids were like, okay, Dad. Like really, like way more responsive to verbal commands.
I'm getting there. I'm right in the middle ground right now. It's, hey, don't do that, ignores me, but then I shoot the look, and then she goes, okay.
So my question was, is it more like, a difference in how kids are encouraged to speak their minds. Because my mom was very much like, yeah, guys, what do you think about this? Problem solve. And now I'm trying to think, was I an a-hole kid?
It's very likely.
Like, was I a super big a-hole kid? It is
very likely.
I don't want that.
Given your career choices and everything,
Right.
it's very likely you were a complete a-hole.
But I feel like I was polite, but now I look back at it like I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of it is discipline has changed and almost optional at a lot of times. I feel like that is got to be the core root of it, because I mean, it's either. I mean, I can't say I can speak for what happened to you, but, you know, there's people who are saying, you know, people need medication to focus. Kids need medication to focus, or they need some sort of counseling. I have 2 nieces. One of them is a serious basket case. Like, she needs help.
Right.
And but also I see opportunities like, no, you got to shut this down. They're testing you. All they're doing is growing, learning your weaknesses. They're like those dinosaurs. No, there's the raptors in Jurassic Park, just testing the fence, test the fence.
Studying your
That's
weaknesses.
what they do, man.
Artificial
they look for
intelligence,
weakness,
just
and
learning.
I mean, imagine yourself as a teenager. You were constantly pushing those boundaries, constantly seeing how far it would go.
I was just trying to keep everything from them.
Yes, and like they never lived life, like they've never seen or did anything that was wrong before. They're constantly, and you gotta shut that down, man. You gotta be playing prevent D.
So now I'm at the point where, okay, so I have, and my sample size needs to get broadened out, because right now I'm just dealing with 2 dudes from each ethnicity.
Yeah,
but now I'm thinking like, oh, are John and Dante speaking and talking to their kids and disciplining their kids and shutting it down in a way that their parents did to them, and are Joe and Steve unconsciously letting their kids just kick them in the nards all the time in public, because that's what we did, or that's what they did, and I'll put myself in the white kid camp, was I kicking my parents proverbially in the nuts all the time and testing boundaries and never being shut down.
I think this needs to be an ongoing investigation in your life before you have one.
I'm going to immerse myself.
Yeah.
Immerse myself in figuring out if white kids are the worst.
I'll tell you what, mine is probably up there, but she does know discipline. Like, we've laid down the hammer on a lot of different things.
But not physically the hammer.
No, just a hand.
yeah.
Hammer fist?
Just a hand.
Just kidding.
No fist.
No, it's
Always
open hand.
have to be open-handed.
Open hand.
All right, Ryan, where can people find you on social media before we get out of
At
here?
Ryan Dalton on Twitter, at the Ryan Dalton on Instagram.
You can just Google Brian Moote.
You can just Google Brad Nolan, too.
And you might find this pilot.
There's this one guy in Chicago who has the same name as me. But just
he?
ignore that one Google result, okay? I'm clearly different than that guy.
Just go to page 2.
This is Nearly Informed. If you like this show, find it on the radio.com app and subscribe.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn. Ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn. Tell people to stay off the lawn. Compare it to your neighbor's lawn. And complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
I can't believe it.
That Gerald is presenting the quarterly budget report with finger puppets?
Look, here comes a 1.7% decrease in fixed overhead. Hello, everybody.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
Who are you? The projected increase in organic Q3 revenue. Hooray!
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.